Hey, boys and girls, time for another session of wonder. Understudy. Via brought home 3 tickets to her school play a few days after Daisy died. We never mentioned the fight we had over dinner again. On the night of the play, right before she and Justin were leaving to go to their school early, she gave me a great big hug and told me she loved me and she was proud to be my sister. This was the first time in Via's new school. It was much bigger than her old school and 1,000 times bigger than my school. More hallways, more room for people. The only really bad thing about my bionic Lobot hearing aids was the fact that I couldn't wear a baseball cap anymore. In situations like these, baseball caps can come in really handy. Sometimes I wish I could get away with wearing my old astronaut helmet I used to wear when I was little. Believe it or not, people would think seeing a kid in an astronaut helmet was a lot less weird than seeing my face. Anyway, I kept my head down as I walked right behind Mom through the long, bright hallways. We followed the crowd to the auditorium where students handed out programs at the front entrance. We found seats in the 5th row, close to the middle. As soon as we sat down, Mom started looking inside her pocketbook. "I can't believe I forgot my glasses," she said. Dad shook his head. Mom was always forgetting her glasses or her keys or something or other. She is flaky in that way. "You want to move closer?" said Dad. Mom squinted at the stage. "No, I can see okay." "Speak now, forever hold your peace," said Dad. "I'm fine," answered Mom. "Look, there's Justin," I said to Dad, pointing out Justin's picture in the program. "That's a nice picture of him," he answered, nodding. "How come there's no picture of Via?" I said. "She's an understudy," said Mom. "But look, here's her name." "Why do they call her an understudy?" I asked. "Wow, look at Miranda's picture," said Mom to Dad. "I don't think I would have recognized her." "Why do they call it understudy?" I repeated. "It's what they call someone who replaces if an actor can't perform for some reason," answered Mom. "Did you hear Martin's getting remarried?" Dad said to Mom. "Are you kidding me?" Mom answered like she was surprised. "Who's Martin?" I asked. "Miranda's father," Mom answered, and then to Dad. "Who told you?" "I ran into Miranda's mother in the subway. She's not happy about it. He has a new baby on the way and everything." "Wow," said Mom, shaking her head. "What are you guys talking about?" I said. "Nothing," answered Dad. "But why do they call it understudy?" I said. "I don't know, Augie Doggy," Dad answered. "Maybe because the actors kind of study under the main actors or something. I don't really know." I was going to say something else, but then the lights went down. The audience got very quiet very quickly. "Dad, can you please not call me Augie Doggy anymore?" I whispered in Dad's ear. Dad smiled and nodded and gave me a thumbs up. The play started. The curtain opened. The stage was completely empty except for Justin, who was sitting on an old rickety chair tuning his fiddle. He was wearing an old-fashioned type of suit and a straw hat. "This play is called Our Town," he said to the audience. "It is written by Thornton Wilder, produced and directed by Philip Davenport. The name of the city is Grover's Corners, New Hampshire, just across the Massachusetts line. Latitude 42 degrees, 40 minutes. Longitude 70 degrees, 37 minutes. The first act shows a day in our town. The day is May 7th, 1901. The time is just before dawn." I knew right then and there that I was going to like the play. It wasn't like other plays I've been to, like The Wizard of Oz or Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. No, this was grown-up seeming, and I felt smart sitting there watching it. A little later in the play, a character named Mrs. Webb calls out for her daughter, Emily. I knew from the program that was the part Miranda was playing, so I leaned forward to get a better look at her. "That's Miranda," Mom whispered to me, squinting at the stage when Emily walked out. "She looks so different." "It's not Miranda," I whispered. "It's Via." "Oh, my God," said Mom, lurching forward in her seat. "Shh," said Dad. "It's Via," Mom whispered to him. "I know," whispered Dad, smiling. "Shh." The ending. The play was so amazing, I didn't want to give away the ending. I don't want to give away the ending, but it's the kind of ending that makes people in the audience teary. Mom totally lost it when Via, as Emily said, "Goodbye, goodbye, world. Goodbye, Grover's Corners, Mama and Papa. Goodbye to clocks ticking and Mama's sunflowers and food and coffee and new ironed dresses and hot baths and sleeping or waking up. Oh, Earth, you're too wonderful for anybody to realize you." Via was actually crying while she was saying this, like real tears. I could see them rolling down her cheeks. It was totally awesome. After the curtain closed, everyone in the audience started clapping. Then the actors came out one by one. Via and Justin were the last ones out, and when they appeared, the whole audience rose to their feet. Bravo! I heard Dad yelling through his hands. Why is everyone getting up? I said. It's a standing ovation, said Mom, getting up. So I got up and clapped and clapped. I clapped until my hands hurt. For a second, I imagined how cool it would be to be Via and Justin right then, having all these people standing up and cheering for them. I think there should have been a rule that everyone in the world should get a standing ovation at least once in their lives. Finally, after I don't know how many minutes, the line of the actors on stage stepped back and the curtain closed in front of them. The clapping stopped and the lights went up and the audience started getting up to leave. Me and Mom and Dad made our way to the backstage. Crowds of people were congratulating the performers, surrounding them, patting them on the back. We saw Via and Justin at the center of the crowd, smiling at everyone, laughing and talking. Via, shouted Dad, waving as he made his way through the crowd. When he got close enough, he hugged her and lifted her off the floor a little. You were amazing, sweetheart. Oh my God, Via, Mom was screaming with excitement. Oh my God. He was hugging Via so hard, I thought she was hugging Via so hard, I thought Via would suffocate, but Via was laughing. You were brilliant, said Dad. Brilliant, said Mom, kind of nodding and shaking her head at the same time. And you, Justin, said Dad, shaking Justin's hand and giving him a hug at the same time. You were fantastic. Fantastic, Mom repeated. She was honestly so emotional she could barely talk. What a shock to see you up there, Via, said Dad. Mom didn't even recognize you at first, I said. I didn't recognize you, said Mom, her hand over her mouth. Miranda got sick right before the show started, said Via, all out of breath. There wasn't even time to make an announcement. I have to say she looked kind of strange because she was wearing all this makeup and I had never seen her like this before. And you just stepped in there right at the last minute, said Dad. Wow. She was amazing, wasn't she, said Justin, his arm around Via. There wasn't a dry eye in the house, said Dad. Is Miranda okay, I said, and no one heard me. But no one heard me. At that moment, a man who I think was their teacher came over to Justin and Via, clapping his hands. Bravo, bravo, Olivia. And Justin, he kissed Via on both cheeks. I flubbed a couple lines, said Via, shaking her head. But you got through it, said the man, smiling ear to ear. Mr. Davenport, these are my parents, said Via. You must be so proud of your girl, he said, shaking their hands with both his hands. We are. And this is my little brother, August, said Via. He looked like he was about to say something, but suddenly froze when he looked at me. Mr. D, said Justin, pulling him by the arm. Come meet my mom. Via was about to say something to me, but then someone else came over and started talking to her, and before I knew it, I was kind of alone in the crowd. I mean, I knew where Mom and Dad were, but there were so many people all around us, and people kept bumping into me, spinning me around a bit, giving me that 1-2 look, which made me feel kind of bad. I don't know if it was because I was feeling hot or something, but I kind of started getting dizzy. People's faces were blurring in my head, and their voices were so loud, it was almost hurting my ears. I tried to turn the volume down on my Lobot ears, but I got confused and turned them louder at first, which kind of shocked me. And then I looked up, and I didn't see Mom or Dad or Via anywhere. Via, I yelled out. I started pushing through the crowd to find Mom. Mommy, I really couldn't see anything but people's stomachs and ties all around me. Mommy? Suddenly, someone picked me up from behind. Look who's here, said a familiar voice, hugging me tight. I thought it was Via at first. But when I turned around, I was completely surprised. Hey, Mr. Tom, she said. Miranda, I answered, and I gave her the tightest hug I could give. Part 7, Miranda. I forgot that I might see so many beautiful things. I forgot that I might need to find out what life could bring. Camp Lies. So this is Miranda's part of the story. This is some information from Miranda's point of view. My parents got divorced the summer before 9th grade. My father was with someone else right away. In fact, though my mother never said so, I think that was the reason they got divorced. After the divorce, I hardly ever saw my father, and my mother acted stranger than ever. It's not that she was unstable or anything, just distant, remote. My mother is the kind of person who was a happy face for the rest of the world, but not a lot left over for me. She never talked too much to me much. Not about her feelings, her life. I don't know much about what she was like when she was my age. Don't know much about the things she liked or didn't like. A few times she mentioned her own parents, who I've never met. It was mostly about how she wanted to get as far away from them as she could once she grew up. She never told me why. I asked a few times, but she would pretend she hadn't heard me. I didn't want to go to camp that summer. I wanted to stay with her to help her get through the divorce, but she insisted I go away. I figured she wanted time alone, so I gave it to her. Camp was awful. I hated it. I thought it would be better being a junior counselor, but it wasn't. No one I knew from the previous year had come back, so I didn't know anyone, not a single person. I'm not even sure why, but I started playing this little make-believe game with the girls at camp. They'd ask me stuff about myself, and I'd make things up. My parents are in Europe, I told them. I live in a huge townhouse in the nicest street in North River Heights. I have a dog named Daisy. Then one day I blurted out that I had a little brother who was deformed. I have absolutely no idea why I said this. It just seemed like an interesting thing to say. And of course, I got the reaction from the little girls in the bungalow was dramatic. Really? So sorry. That must be tough, etc., etc. I regretted saying this the moment it escaped my lips. Of course, I felt like such a fake. If Via ever found out, I thought, she'd think I was such a weirdo, and I felt like a weirdo. But I have to admit, there was a part of me that felt a little entitled to the sly. I've known Augie since I was 6 years old. I've watched him grow up. I've played with him. I've watched all 6 episodes of Star Wars for his sake. So I could talk to him about the aliens and bounty hunters and all that. I'm the one that gave him the astronaut helmet so that he wouldn't take off for 2 years. I mean, I kind of earned the right to think of him as my brother. The strangest thing is that these lies I told, these fictions, did wonders for my popularity. The other junior counselors heard it from the campers, and they were all over it. Never in my life have I ever been considered one of the popular girls in anything. But that summer in camp, for whatever reason, I was the girl everybody wanted to hang out with. Even the girls in Bungalow 32 were totally into me. These were the girls at the top of the food chain. They said they liked my hair, though they changed it. They said they liked the way I did my makeup, though they changed that too. They showed me how to turn my t-shirt into halter tops. We smoked. We snuck out late at night and took the path through the woods to the boys' camp. We hung out with boys. When I got home from camp, I called Ella right away to make plans with her. I don't know why I didn't call Via. I guess I just didn't feel like talking about stuff with her. She would have asked me about my parents, about camp. Ella never really asked me about things. She was an easier friend to have in that way. She wasn't serious like Via. She was fun. She thought it was cool when I dyed my hair pink. She wanted to hear about all those trips through the woods late at night.